बड़ी सी परनीत आ जाओ ना तो सही ऐसी मन की है सच्ची तुम हो सितारों की भरी हुई गलती सॉरी हमने गाया तुम क्यों सुनी किसकी मर्जी जो थी अब तो आए जा हमको ले जाए जा आए जा अब तो आए जा हमको ले जाए जा अब तो आए जा हमको हमको ले जाए जा देखो आने जाने वाले सारे साथ खड़े हैं कभी ना कभी मैंने भी तो ऐसे वैसे ख्वाब देखे हैं कि हम तो आस पास सास में और रात साथ बात करे क्यों ना रह लो ना अब तो आए जा हमको ले जाए जा अब तो आए जा हमको ले जाए जा अब तो आए जा हमको हमको ले जाए जा Exactly what I wanted. Well done. What do you think?
Hey, thank you, man.
Amazing.
Hey guys, back up.
घर जा रहे हो? ये सिलसिला है हम तुम यहाँ है उलझन हवा में ना गिर ही रहा है कैसा कुआ है सब खुदा ही रहना भीनी सी है जो रात जो बातों पे बातें बना और भागे रे मन माने ना माने जो तेरी यादें सो याद सताए खामोशी सहना ये नहीं जरूरी खामोशी सहना ये नहीं जरूरी ये सिलसिला हम तुम यहाँ है उलझन हवा में गिर ही रहा है कैसा है तब खुदा ही कहना आना जाना ला रहा पर मिलना हो न सका पर मिलना हो न सका खामोशी ये सिलसिला है हम तुम यहाँ है उलझन हवा में ना गिर ही रहा है ऐसा कुआ है तब खुदा ही रहना नींद भी किसी पे जो रातें रातें जो तेरी बातों पे बातें बनाना ओरे भागे भागे रे मनवा माने ना माने जो तेरी यादें सो यादें सताए खामोशी सहना ये नहीं जरूरी खामोशी सहना ये नहीं जरूरी ये सिलसिला हम तुम यहाँ है उगले जान हवा में गिर ही रहा ऐसा हुआ है वक्त अब खुदा ही करना
Hello.
ठंडी हवा की जो आई संभालो हमको कभी न जाए सहलाए संभालो
Hello, ma'am.
सभी से आगे जाए
Yes, I'm
नहीं
there.
है उनके
Ma'am,
प्यार
we'll start in a
सभी
minute.
से
Also, we
आगे
are planning for
जाए
5 minutes. So we have to practice at this Indian English.
हम ही तो है तुम्हारे घर
We have 7
तभी
MPs
तो है
to
तुम्हारे
present
पास
to us.
ना
And
छोड़ो
English
कभी
में
हमारा साथ कभी
Okay,
ना
fine.
कभी तो नजरा
Okay, ma'am. We will be starting soon.
Fair enough.
तेरे नाम तेरे नाम तेरे नाम तेरे नाम पे मेरे नाम तेरे नाम पे मेरे नाम तेरे नाम तेरे नाम सर्दी जब आई
Yeah.
कब कब आई संभालो
Perfect.
जमीन पर लाके
Are we ready with that?
दवाई संभालो हमको सभी से
Yeah, I'll start.
प्यार चाहे
Good afternoon to one
दूरी
more
से
person.
सब गिरा है
I welcome you all to the second day of Annual Talent Fest 2021 and its magnificent array of events that house
हम ही तो है
such a
तुम्हारे
spectacular
घर
level of talent that I've been personally enthralled, and I assure you that you also are going to feel the same. Today, we come together to celebrate poetry in a form none other than with the budding poets who are here to actually tell us their passion, their emotions in the form that has been continuing for a long time now. I'm your host Yogeshwar Singh, and I welcome you all to this very beautiful Poetry Slam event of Annual Transfers 2021. Today, we're going to have both our Hindi and English poets together, priming their thoughts up to us, and of course, bringing their passion into words and enthralling us all. But before I begin with that, I'd like to introduce you all to something about poetry. Writing is one of the most popular and beautiful ways of expressing emotions. But with poetry, it goes deeper. Poetry brings out an individual's thoughts, feelings, and emotions with an intricacy and influence of its own. The most beautiful part of a poem is that its meaning is unique to every individual, open to different interpretations and visions. Whether it is a minimal piece of writing or something as Byzantine as a Shakespeare's sonnet, it can mean one thing to one person and something entirely different to someone else. Poetry has words, sounds, rhythms, and figures. But what is universal is that they all shine as a form of writing used to convey your thoughts and emotions. We all have had poetry in our lives from a very young age. From Chanda Mama Dur Ke to a point wherein we actually talk about Agnipath by Harvansh Rai Bachchan, to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star to the rhyme of Ancient Mariner and the albatross in it. We have all grown from a level of poetry that perhaps was reminiscing to our naive nature in the childhood to a point wherein we were pondering upon the thoughts of the world and how mystical everything around us is. And on that note, I welcome you all to the Poetry Slam event of second day of Annual Answers 2021. Today, we are here to witness some amazing poetry written by the talented students of Mitibai College. But before I move ahead any forward, I'd like to take this moment to introduce you all to our beloved and esteemed judge, Ms. Dhrumi Shah. Ma'am, could you please switch on your camera? Thank you so much, ma'am. Ms. Dhrumi Shah is a passionate writer and literary arts enthusiast. She loves writing down her thoughts and she posts many of them on her Instagram page, Beyond Writing 9611. Her writings are inspiring, thought provoking, and prove how passionate she is about the art. She's also a teacher of literature for MA students and is also passionate about drawing and painting. Ma'am, we are extremely proud and honored to announce that you will be our judge for the Poetry Slam event as part of Annual Answers 2021, and we are extremely delighted and ecstatic to have you on board. Would you like?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
7 by 7 or 6 by 6. Thank you so much, ma'am. Well, on that note, I suppose it's time for us to begin with the event. And now I would like to invite the LA event head, Mr. Ayush Pradeep, to please announce the rules and regulations to acquaint our participants with that. Mr. Ayush?
Morning, good afternoon, respected judge and all the fellow members who are listening to the meeting right now. So, as you all know, today is our Poetry Slam event, and we have chosen the best of the best from all those who took part in the event. We initially gave them a set of rules and regulations which they had to follow in order to qualify. I will be stating them once again for the perusal of the judge and everyone who is watching the stream right now. So, as you all know, the scoring of our event will be based on four particular components. They are articulation, voice modulation, content, impact, and delivery. These are some of the most important aspects while delivering a poem, so please keep them in mind while going through each and every poem. There are also certain rules and regulations which we lay down in order to qualify. The poem could be on any subject and and in any style. That is why we have kept the theme as open. The writers are free to put forward their thoughts and emotions in any way and in any topic they want to. But they are also prohibited from doing some things. The use of vulgar, obscene, and profane behavior is strictly prohibited. Any sensitive statements, comments against any race, religion, caste, sex, gender, or social groups are all prohibited. Disrespecting as well as not complying to the instructions of the organizing committee will lead to disqualification. Not adhering to the rules, regulations, and procedure of the event will also lead to immediate disqualification. But above all, the number one rule is your content must be original. Any form of prejudice will lead to direct disqualification. Those who have followed these rules and regulations have qualified for the finals. I wish you all the best. Let's enjoy.
Thank you so much, Ayush. That was a rigorous criterion that all our finalists had to pass through. But I would like to congratulate all of them for making it through. And of course, kudos to all the participants who actually participated in the event. On that note, let's begin with the poetry slam that we have all been anticipating for quite long and we have been waiting for. Please be excited because this is definitely going to be a ride that you don't want to miss. And before I invite our first poet, ma'am, I would like to request you to please use the score sheet that has been shared with you by our coordinator.
Yes, yes.
See, thank you so much, ma'am. The present of the exam of your research methodology. Yeah, and now to begin the event, our first poet will be from Hindi, and as a matter of fact, our first six poets are going to be from Hindi. And our first poet is going to be Miss Nitya Suresh.
नमस्ते दोस्तों, मेरा नाम नित्या सुरेश है। मैं 12वीं कक्षा वर्ग A 8 से हूँ। मेरी कविता का शीर्षक है नारी का महत्व, चलिए आरंभ करते हैं। नारी, नारी यानी देश की रखवाली। इस बात का ज्ञात है हम सबको भली भांति। माथे पर लगाती है बिंदी, हाथों में चूड़ियां खन खनाती, लगती है सबसे प्यारी। परंतु क्यों, क्यों उसका उपयोग उठाती है दुनिया सारी। दुपट्टा ओढ़ती है ताकि चेहरे पर ना लगे, परंतु फिर भी उस पर नजर अड़ाए हुए है धूर्त। नारी नहीं है पीतल का टुकड़ा, यदि खराब करोगे उसका मुखड़ा तो वह भी है झांसी की रानी, नहीं होने देगी अपने ऊपर मनमानी। हर नारी के ऊपर निवास करती है दुर्गा माता, जो भी उसे पीड़ा दिलाने का प्रयास करेगा वह भयभीत होकर दूर भाग जाएगा। नारी का विवाह करो धूमधाम से, परंतु मत करो उसके समक्ष ऐसी विनंती जो पड़ जाए उसके माता पिता पर भारी। नारी चाहे जो भी वस्त्र धारण करे, उसके समक्ष मत प्रकट करो ऐसी दशा जो बन जाए उसके लिए सदा। महिला दिवस पर देते हो बड़े बड़े शब्दों का भाषण, कभी तो किया करो उन शब्दों का पालन। दानवों, याद रखो, नारी भली भांति पहचानती है ऐसे लोगों की सोच जो स्वभाव से निर्मल बनते हैं परंतु ख्यालों में पहुंचाना चाहते हैं उसे चोट। आखिर कब, कब देश से दूर होगा यह द्वेष, कब लोग करेंगे नारी के महत्व को पेश। हमारे भाई रक्षाबंधन में हमारी बहनों को वचन देंगे कि वह उनके लिए भय का वातावरण दूर करेंगे। जल्दी मिटेगा बेटा बेटी में फर्क, हमारे देश के बेटों को पड़ेगी भनक, और वह नारी के लिए तैयार करेंगे सम्मान की सड़क। धन्यवाद।
That was such a beautiful poem, and perhaps I feel that there could not have been a more auspicious event than the last day of Navratri, when we could perhaps reminisce the importance that every single woman in our life holds, not just for us, but for our society as well. Thank you so much, Ms. Nitya. That was a beautiful poem and indeed a beautiful presentation and performance. Now, before we move ahead with our next performance, ma'am, I would like to request you if you could please switch on your camera. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now, our next performance will be by Mrunmay Panwar.
Hey everyone, I am Mrunmay Jaidas Pawar. I am an FYGC science student in Mithibai College. I am in Division D. Today I am going to present a Hindi poetry here. The name of my poetry is Zindagi. आंसू निकलने तक रुलाने वाले बहुत लोग मिलेंगे, पर प्यार से वो आंसू पोंछने वाले बहुत कम ही लोग मिलेंगे। इस बेदर्द मतलबी दुनिया में किसी को किसी की नहीं पड़ी है। सिर्फ कुछ ही लोग ऐसे होते हैं जो हमसे सच्चा प्यार करते हैं। रिश्ते प्यार से बनाए जाते हैं, नफरत से नहीं। पैसों का क्या है, वो आज है कल नहीं, इसलिए पैसा या किसी और के लिए कभी अपनों को मत ठुकराना। खुशी के समय तो सभी साथ होते हैं, पर तकलीफ और दर्द के समय सिर्फ हमारे अपने ही हमारे साथ होते हैं। जिंदगी का कोई भरोसा नहीं, क्योंकि उसे बदलने में ज्यादा समय नहीं लगता। बुरा वक्त तो सबकी जिंदगी से गुजरता है, पर उसके बाद अच्छा वक्त भी जरूर आता है। बीते हुए कल का गम और आने वाली कल की चिंता छोड़ो और आज को खुलकर जियो, इसी का नाम जिंदगी है। थैंक यू।
That was a beautiful poem, Mrunmay, and indeed a very beautiful concept as well. Now, our next poet will be Ms. Pritha Tiwari.
जय हिंद। मैं प्रथा तिवारी प्रथम वर्ष बीएससी साइकोलॉजी ऑनर्स से आज आप सभी के समक्ष थर्ड जेंडर की मनस्थिति से रूबरू कराने के लिए कुछ पंक्तियां प्रस्तुत करने जा रही हूँ। पल पल हर पल बस यूं ही न जाने क्यों घबराता हूँ। पल पल हर पल बस यूं ही न जाने क्यों घबराता हूँ कि अपनी ही पहचान खुले, कभी छुपता कभी शर्माता हूँ। बसता कौन है मुझ में, बसता कौन है मुझ में, खोज यही अब जारी है। बसता कौन है मुझ में, खोज यही अब जारी है। कि कोई तो बतला दे मुझ में, नर है या कोई नारी है। कि कोई तो बतला दे मुझ में, नर है या कोई नारी है। आगे राहें हैं बढ़ने को, पर जग है के रोक रहा। डाल पाँव में बेड़ी मेरे, दिल दिमाग से खेल रहा। घूट घूट पी कर कड़वा, तिरस्कार मैं झेल रहा। माँ कहती छुप जा घर में, हर इंसान तुझको घूर रहा। माँ कहती छुप जा घर में, हर इंसान तुझको घूर रहा। कोई चाल को देख हंसे, कोई आवाज पे दे ताने। हाव भाव को देख कभी, भ्रिकुटी कहीं कोई ताने। प्यार और सम्मान भला, कोई हमको देना क्या जाने। हम तो बलैया लेने वाले, देना दुआएं ही जाने। हम तो बलैया लेने वाले, देना दुआएं ही जाने। माँ तूने तो जना था मुझको, माँ तूने तो जना था मुझको, फिर काहे मुँह मोड़ लिया। हाथ छुड़ा कर खुद से क्यों किन्नर समाज से जोड़ दिया। अब तेरे वंश का नाम नहीं, अब तेरे वंश का नाम नहीं, अपनी पहचान अपनाती हूँ। मैं हिजड़ा छक्का जैसे ही नामों से जानी जाती हूँ। मैं हिजड़ा छक्का जैसे ही नामों से जानी जाती हूँ, नामों से जानी जाती हूँ।
Thank you so much for that beautiful poem. And perhaps this is the intricacy that we often talk about when we speak of poetry. Thank you so much, and now we'll be moving over to our next performance. That will be by Miss Aanchal Ladda.
Hi, my name is Aanchal Ladda and I am from FIJC Commerce E. घुटन जो कविता मैंने लिखी है वो पिछले साल कोविड-19 की वजह से जो भारत में लॉकडाउन हुआ था उन दिनों के बारे में है। अब गौर फरमाइएगा। घुटन घुटन की तो आदत पड़ चुकी थी, जो मिटता नहीं वो खौफ था। सवेरा होगा ये सब कहते थे, लेकिन कैसे ना कोई जवाब था। गवा चुके थे सुध-बुध और भूल चुके थे पढ़ाई। यार मानव जात का युद्ध बन चुका था हिंदू मुस्लिम की लड़ाई। उदासी ऐसी छाई थी कि सारा का सारा दिन ही लगता था शाम। गर्मियों का मौसम होकर भी हम खा नहीं पाते थे आम। सड़कें रख कर के सुनसान बैठ घर पर रहे थे। सब कुछ करने के बावजूद सैकड़ों मर रहे थे। अब चकाचौंध सी जिनकी जिंदगी, बड़े लोग फिल्मी सितारे, उस दौरान कई सितारे अफसोस बन चुके थे तारे। खतरनाक बीमारी थी ये, धजिया उड़ा रखी थी इम्यून की। मजाक समझ बैठे थे कुछ लोग जिनको पड़ी थी कॉलर ट्यून की। अब ऐसी गंभीर अवस्था में भी सुकून का थोड़ा सा होता था सहारा। पूरे परिवार संग जब दर्शन हो जाते थे प्रभु श्री राम के रामायण द्वारा। लोगों ने नौकरियां खोई थी, और हमने 10वीं की छुट्टियां। थोड़ी सहायता और चाहिए थी, बंद करके मुट्ठियां। अब जीवित हूँ तो ये शान से कहूंगी ना कि कुछ ऐसा गुजरा था बचपन। नजदीकियां बड़ी भी तो वीडियो कॉल से कुछ ऐसा ही था दीवानापन। अब ऐसे तैसे जो भी गुजरा, ये वक्त बड़ा मुश्किल था। होठों पर हंसी तो थी, जो तन्हा था वो दिल था। अब इस सब के बावजूद सोचो कि हमने क्या क्या पाया था। बाकियों की तरह तो मैं भी कहूंगी कि ये बस एक बुरा साया था। ये तो बस एक बुरा साया था। हालांकि कोविड अभी भी खत्म नहीं हुआ है। वैक्सीन तो आ चुकी है। धन्यवाद। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, Miss Anchal. Perhaps that was the proficiency and emotions that we often look for in poems. Thank you so much for reminiscing the pandemic that we have all experienced in such a poetic manner. And now we move on to our second by last performance in the Hindi area of poems. That will be by Ms. Chavi Rathod.
अग्निपथ अग्निपथ अग्निपथ, वृक्ष हो बड़े खड़े, हो घने हो बड़े, एक पत्र छाह भी मांग मत मांग मत मांग मत। अग्निपथ अग्निपथ अग्निपथ, तू न थमेगा कभी, तू न रुकेगा कभी, न मुड़ेगा कभी। कर शपथ कर शपथ कर शपथ। अग्निपथ अग्निपथ अग्निपथ, ये महान दृश्य है, चल रहा मनुष्य है, अश्रु श्वेत रक्त से लथपथ लथपथ लथपथ। अग्निपथ अग्निपथ अग्निपथ।
Pardon me, but that was such a beautiful depiction of the poem written by very well renowned Harivansh Rai Bachchan ji. And now we move on to our next poet. That will be Mr. Devesh Gupta.
Greetings one and all. My name is Master Devesh Gupta and I am from Standard 11, Division A with roll number 89. My hobby is to write quotes in English and Hindi. So today I am going to recite a poem on mother. जब मैं बैठ रोया, टिप टिप करते आंसू को मैंने अपनी आंखों से खोया, ना किसी का साथ या हमदर्दी पाया, जब मैंने उन दरदरे हाथों की तरफ गौर फरमाया, उसे देख मेरे लफ्जों पर माँ शब्द आया, जब उसके हाथों ने मेरे सिर को सहराया, तब मैंने अपने सारे दुख को भुलाया, पर आंसू को रुकते हुए मैंने नहीं पाया, वो माँ ही थी जिसने मेरे दुख को अपनाया। I've written one more poem. So let's see. It's on mother. यादों का सफर। याद आपकी बहुत आती है, यादों के सफर में आंखें आप ही को तो ढूंढने जाती। जीवन के इस सांचे में भर दिए हैं रंग कुछ इस तरह कि यादों में आंखें नम हो जाती। आशीर्वादों के फूलों से भर दिया आंगन मेरा कुछ इस तरह, जिससे सवर गई हो मेरी जिंदगी उन चमकते सितारों की तरह। आशा है इन यादों के सफर में और यादें जुड़ पाएंगे कुछ इस तरह कि याद करूं मैं और नम हो जाए आंखें आपकी, क्योंकि हमारा जीवन है एक पर है हम दो प्याले। ए माँ, ईश्वर का अद्भुत तोहफा हो आप, भर देना विभिन्न रंग मेरे इस सफर यादों के। थैंक यू ऑल।
Thank you so much, Mr. Devesh, for that beautiful poem on mother. That truly reminisces the most important role that every mother plays in each person's life. Perhaps it is something that can't be put in words, but definitely can be depicted through our emotions at least. And now we move on to our last poet for the Hindi Arya poems, which will be Miss Ishal Khatri.
Hi, this is Ishal Khatri and I am from SYBSCB. The name of my poem is Aage Kya Hona Hai. So here I go. जिंदगी जीनी है तो जियो पूरी, अधूरी कहानी कोई यहाँ सुनता नहीं, फिर चाहे वो पतंग की डोर जैसी ही क्यों ना हो, पता नहीं कब उसका अंत हो, पर उसी पतंग की तरह ही तुम्हें आगे बढ़ते रहना है, दौड़ते रहना है, चलते रहना है। ये मत सोचो आगे क्या होना है, क्योंकि आगे क्या होना है कि सोच लेके तुम ये पल बिता दोगे बिना कुछ हासिल कर। तुम्हें हासिल क्या करना है ये मत सोचो, बस चलते रहो, आगे दौड़ते रहो। ये जिंदगी तुम्हें तुम्हारी मंजिल तक पहुंचा देगी, बस तुम हार मत मानो। ये जिंदगी में आएगी खूब काटे पहाड़, ये जिंदगी में आएंगे खूब काटे पहाड़, पर तुम इन सब से मुकाबला करने से ना डरो, क्योंकि ये पल भी ना बीत जाए ये सोच के कि आगे क्या होना है। तो आगे क्या होना है? आगे आएगा एक नया सवेरा, आगे आएगी एक नई जीत, आगे आएगा एक नया त्योहार और आगे आएगा वो सब जो तुमने सोचा खो गया। उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है, कह गए 100-200। उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है, कह गए 100-200, फिर तुम अकेले क्यों बैठे सोचते क्या कभी तुम्हारा भी मौका होगा होने का समारोह। जब दिल में इच्छा है तो दिल धड़कने दो, जब दिल में इच्छा है तो दिल धड़कने दो, पर तुम इस धड़कन को भी ना गवा दो ये तनाव करके कि आगे क्या होना है, क्योंकि आगे क्या होना है कि सोच ले ये पल भी बिता दो बिना कुछ हासिल। जीतने की जीत तो होती है बेशक, पर जीत उसे भी कहते हैं जो गिर कर, पढ़ कर, उठ कर फिर उस पतंग की डोर की तरह चलता है, आसमान में लड़ता है। जीत की हार से ना करो तुम तुलना, क्योंकि हर एक काम जो तुम करते हो है निशानी एक जीत की। जिंदगी जीनी है तो जियो, ये अधूरी कहानी यहाँ सुनता नहीं। थैंक यू।
That was such an inspiring and motivating poem, and perhaps the perfect way that we could have ended this array of Hindi poems. And before we move on to our English section, I'd like to take this moment to perhaps say a few words about just how beautiful poems and poets we have in our college, and perhaps we could have as future poets. Honestly, when I was young myself, I used to read poems of from Chaya Badkal, the ones by Suryakant Tripathi Nirala or Mahadev Verma. And in Adhunik Kal, we have had some poets like Kumar Vishwas or probably Vikram Sheth. But I believe that after this, we probably could have some proficient Hindi poets as well who can put India on the map again of poetry that has been long lost now. But on that note, we are now moving on to our English section wherein we have just as beautiful poems and just as beautiful poets. And to begin with that, our first poet is going to be Miss Kashish Parekh.
Hello everyone, I'm Kashish Parekh from grade 11th Division F. Here's a poem I've written about a tragic love story that I can only imagine but haven't experienced at all. So the name of the poem is Maybe It Was Love. I don't know what it was, but I do remember concealing my smile behind my emotionless face. I remember watching you avoid my eyes when you felt my gaze. I am bad at communication, but with you, I could talk all day. You're like the calmness I never felt. You're beautiful in every way. On that rainy day when we both forgot our umbrellas at home, I remember you and me passing by our favorite spot to go back home. The next day you got sick, but that sickness was always permanent. I confronted you regarding that matter that led to us having an argument. I couldn't sleep when you left me because it was my heart that was so much in pain. I remember standing in front of your grave with my head bowed, thinking there was so much left to explain. Years ago, someone had asked me, is there someone you always want by your side even when you grow? And all I could say was that my heart beats for someone whose heart stopped beating a long time ago. If there is a life after this one, let me be the one to approach you first. If there is a life after this one, let's not hide our feelings that lead to worse. Looking back to those long lost days, whenever I look above, I just can't help but wonder maybe it was love? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kashish. That was a beautiful poem, and pardon me for the technical glitches. I hope I don't have to experience them anymore because this has been a beautiful event and all the poems have been beautiful until now. And now, our next poet will be Miss Shrishti Soni. Yeah, our next poet will be Miss Shrishti Soni, the first lot.
Hello, my name is Srishti, and this work, which is fictional, is something I'm going to share right now, and it's named Intertwining. I hope you like it. She held out a hand to invite an intertwining of his fingers so that they could walk together without missing out each other, so that they could sit on the stretched sheet and gaze at the stars. She held out a hand to invite an intertwining of his fingers so that they could live each other's fantasies and start their own tales, so that they could stare at each other and drown in their deep, clear oceans. She held out her hand to invite an intertwining of his fingers, finally looking at the red liquid which was dripping from his nails to reach hers, quietly swimming back up to check upon the truth of eyes. She held out her hand to invite an intertwining of his fingers, fearing the disclosure of the clasp, probably assured after letting out a gasp. She held out her hand to invite an intertwining of his fingers, so that she could be a tissue almost hiding the whole issue. She held out her hand to invite an intertwining of his fingers. Once again, smiling at her source of laughter and simply just wondering, can it even be a happily ever after? Thank you.
That was such a beautiful Miss Srishti. Now we move on to our next poet, who will be Miss Nanika Sharma. Ma'am, I make a humble request to you to please switch on your camera if it will be possible.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anxiety is a ghost. It is not just a thought passing by in a social setting. It is the only devil on your shoulder that not just prompts you but has you by your throat until the words are but choking out. Anxiety is a ghost that has possessed your house, and there's just not enough power in the world that can spell it out. Anxiety cannot be won over. It is so subtle in a way that you barely even realize how you turn from visibly still to visibly trembling like a tree in the troubled storm. Anxiety is a ghost and it does not a reason to stay. But you cannot stop paying attention to it. It is like the subtitles of a movie. It is there and you know it, but it does not feed off your attention. It feeds off of your thumping heartbeat and barely consistent food. Belly anxiety is a ghost. Whose history lies so deep that even its grave has sprouted a tree and the seeds it shed have taken root. Anxiety is the force that has you up and then down, your head spinning round and round, rendering you over analyzing in your own self-doubt, because how can you do something without blunder? Anxiety is believing that every single social interaction is bigger than your life, that everybody is here to judge you, strangers, parents, loved ones. Anxiety is knowing that your friends hate you behind your back. How can they like you more than you like yourself? Anxiety is a ghost that takes the bed sheets off of your unglamorous mistakes, leaving you behind all bare and conscious and desperate, trying to cover yourself. Anxiety is frustrating. You don't even know why it is there to begin with, puncturing your thoughts, controlling them, while you stand beside screws. You want the control of the wheels in your hands because you know you would not willingly jump off the cliff if the road wasn't antagonizing you. Anxiety has your perfect day turned around. Nothing wrong but the chemicals in your brain. Anxiety is the tightness you cannot get rid of. It is the cold when it is warm. It is the nausea when it is realizing that you cannot think in a crowded place because your breathing intensifies like an earthquake about to split the ground. Anxiety has heart thumping, violent tremors threatening to fracture you on your mind. Anxiety is a ghost who you still try to push out, but you cannot escape your own mind.
That was a beautiful poem, planted by the strong words and a rather important message that we perhaps all need to understand. Thank you so much, Ms. Nalika. That was a really beautiful poem and performance. And now we move on to our next poet. That will be Ms. Ridhima Shetty. Technical team, our next poet is Ms. Ridhima Shetty. Pardon me for the technical inconvenience. I believe that we are waiting for the scores to be updated. Meanwhile, tech team, could you please move on with the performance?
Excuse me, ma'am. Can I ask if you have given scores for the third slot?
Third, yes, yes, given.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm done.
ma'am, we cannot see the scores.
Yeah, actually, 1 minute. Just I'm actually there's something with my Wi-Fi. I'm just reconnecting. You'll be able to see it. I've already entered it. So once it's refreshed, you'll be able to see it.
Okay, okay, thank you, ma'am.
Just give me 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Ridhima Shetty. I am from FIGC Arts Division C. My poem's name is Me vs. Myself, and it's about how we don't admit to the darkest parts of ourselves. So, we're all born from the same womb, our first home, the warmth as deep as a mother's soul. We think we write process control, thoughts as large as in fire petrol. What we seek is often lost in our minds, offended by words so deep and loud. What we embrace is what we leave behind. Will our souls ever be found? We claim to be good people, we say. In our hearts, we see the spit of oblivion. The secrets that are dark see the light of day. With evil, we're blinded no less than a concussion. Each of us has a scar of battle. We chose to go into this war, but did we take on more than we can handle? Getting bruised and cut, what for? In the end, it's the brightest stars that perish, sucked into endless desert, white and grey. While we're alive, are we cherished, vexed or overwhelmed on ourselves? Thank you.
That was another beautiful performance, and I honestly feel that the contemporary art and poetry has been truly flourished in the young generation of poets that we have seen in the 21st century. And perhaps there is a huge role being played by the social media wherein we are often sharing our poems and perhaps even changing our views. And the sheer importance of feminism that we are seeing in young poetry is the reminiscing factor of it. Thank you so much, Ms. Redima. That was a beautiful poem. And now we move on to our next poet, that will be Miss Survi S. Wag.
Are they able to see the scores now?
Uh, Technical team, could you please confirm that? Yes, ma'am. They're able to see the scores now. Thank you so much, ma'am. And so our next performance is Miss Survi S. Wag.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Suravi S. Wong from FIGC Arts, Division C, roll number 100. This poem, which I have composed, is not just an ensemble of words. It is about an issue which is felt all around the world, but is majorly practiced here in India. This issue, unfortunately, was there, still is, and I hope it does not continue to be. The title to my poem is She. She by Suravi S. Wag. If it's a girl, not a boy, there is no need to cry, because that girl one day will hold your head up high. She will be the light out of dense darkness. She will rise up, even with this mental sickness. This sickness which is deep in people's mind, that women are not equal to mankind. She can be the light, she can be the fire, she can be vocal to express her ire. Calm, she always stays under atrocity, a Durga within Parvati. If it's a girl, not a boy, no one should cry, because that girl is the reason that your head is still up high. Thank you for listening to me patiently. This poem is very close to my heart. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Ms. Survi. That was definitely not just an mere ensemble of words blended into a beautiful poem, but also a delivery of a rather important message that we all need to practice in our lives. Thank you so much for that beautiful poem, and I'm sure everybody feels that way. And now we move on to our next performance, which will be by Miss Sania Sheikh.
My name is Sania Naim Sheikh. I'm from FIJCG division, and today I'll be performing my poetry, Unfolded Wings. Unfolded Wings is a tribute to the strength of women. Captured her, how long will they keep? Controlling her life is what they feel. It feels like a long, tiring sleep, her heart shut and her mouth sealed. Her screams go unheard, her laughter is silenced. The soul on fire, the heart all violence. She is like the ocean, embracing all that comes her way with so much love and passion. She loves to own the day. Her soul lies beneath the sea. The heart flies above the sky. That fire in her heart to conquer all and freely fly. She will win and give her best. She did no sin to be at rest. Her dreams were big, and so was her will, much bigger than their ego. And so she was free. No more captured and no more sleep. Thank you.
You are on mute, Lokesh, sir.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am. Pardon me, I was just saying that that was such a beautiful poem, Miss Sanya. Thank you so much. And now our next poet will be Miss Misri Pujara.
Hi, my name is Misri Pujara, and today I'm going to be reciting my poem Flame. It's a two-part poem in which each part describes the same story but from a different perspective. I looked for you everywhere, but I couldn't find you anywhere. You were right there, two steps ahead of me. I heard your screams, but you I still couldn't see. And then you stopped, sat there with your feelings locked. I looked for you every place I could see, any place I thought you could be. But where there is no light, what help would be my sight? When you didn't even tell why you bid farewell. But just because the light was shining on me didn't mean in the shadows wasn't hiding me. So I lit the lamp and searched in its glow for the face that I know. I saw the flame flicker, and through its glimmer, I saw a look in your eyes as blank as the summer night skies. But as I brought the lamp a little closer, in your eyes I could see the fire. So I tried to hold it there until you light your own flare. Then slowly your lips curved, and that smile was preserved in mine. In the end, who knew? I wasn't the only one who needed the light to see you. You said you looked for me everywhere. You couldn't find me anywhere. But I was right there, two steps ahead of you. So I stopped and sat there with my feelings locked. You looked for me any place you thought I could be, but where there is no light, of what help would be your sight? And even I couldn't see or tell where I was in the dark myself. The light shone on you, but to me it had betrayed you. I had lost all hope, didn't think I could. But then I heard a flicker and saw a flame glimmer. My eyes were a blank slate, so they reflected the hope in your eyes. Maybe I could feel great and see the stars beyond the ones in your eyes. And time the flickering flame beguiled until I finally smiled. I hope you know the lamp helped you find me. You saw me because of something more. The truth is, we both needed more than just the ray of light to see me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Misri. That was such a moving poem. And now We move on to our next poet, who will be Miss Ananya Sharma.
Pouring of their being. Silence force complains half of these people ain't ever felt the purest ray of sunshine. A natural remedy for glooms being poetry. People, where is your mindset? You kill the bees and ask for honey? Now why would you kill something that has the power to create and sustain? I see around every corner a shy shadow seeking to be seen. When the hate stops manifesting, the child is still alive inside, but not for long. You managed to give me a song to sing, but it's fading away. Have you ever felt so cold that the hair on your body has become an icicle? Beautiful, but an icicle. Lips freezing as you kiss the ice. You are so scared to speak it out, cold as in the freezer. Keeping the eyes on the floors, hands clenched on the times that you were happy, hands clenched on the times you were happy. Body queers with the pulse of each word that comes out of the people. Body is sweating with the intense heat. The flames are now high as the kneecaps. The movements reflect in your eyes, still easy to see from the distance that it takes all that you have, not to cry. I could see the voices, I could sense the voices, but it's choked with emotions. You have a marathon of emotions in your mind and your heart. Still, you are here. Still, you fight it. It's okay to feel unstable. It's okay to dissociate. It's okay to hide from the world. It's okay to need help. It's okay not to be okay. Your mental illness is not your personal failure. You are not a burden. You are sad quite often. You are not a burden if you are living in a constant anxiety. You are not a burden if you need a lot of reassurance. You are not a burden if you reach out for help. Just a reminder, if your mind is playing tricks with you, you matter. You are important. You make a difference on this earth, whether you see it or not. Just few words in Erin Hansen. You are not your weight. You are not the dimple on your cheek. You are the sweetness in your laughter. You are the every tear that you have ever cried. You are the smiles you have tried to hide. You are the pictures in your bedroom. You are the future that you dream of. You are made of so much beauty, but it seems that you forgot when you were defined by all the things that you were not. When you were defined by all the things that you were not. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Ananya. That was such an imaginative and elegant poem. Thank you so much for it. And now we move on to our next poet, who will be Miss Thea.
Greetings, judges. I am Thea Shah from grade 11A. I am about to recite my poem, The Crack of Dawn. My soul was burning in the fire of expectations, the desire of being great. It felt as if my life had turned into a never ending dark night. My ears were filled with the dissonant sounds of the raven, and all I could see was rain, and all I could think was filled with hatred. Hatred for those who were better than me, who possessed the abilities that I lacked. Hatred for the vines which would dance in the air. Hatred for the flowers which would bloom and bring an end to despair. While these toxic thoughts brewed in my mind, a butterfly flew past me and sat on my thigh. It had just left its cocoon and transformed into a beautiful butterfly. It flew up and down and played with the air. I saw happiness of which I was yet unaware. I saw a ray of sunlight carrying hope towards me, hope to transform into a new human being. So I stood up and saw the sun rising and ending the never ending dark night. And ending the never ending dark night. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Thea, for that menagerie of craft. That was a really beautiful poem. And now we move
Just give me
on to our
one.
Shoma. Up until now, we have had an array of beautiful poets and their beautiful poems, which have been not just imaginative, pressing, but also very important about some of the certain issues that we perhaps need to discuss as a part of the society that is perhaps going to lead our not just country, but the world as well. And I thank all the poets for being so thoughtful in their words, in their art, and being so passionate about it. It's not just the poetry, but also your performances that have said you have made the poem so beautiful. And this has been stellar up until now. And should I say that the competition has been increasing with every single performance? But then that is what passionate poets are about. And on that note, I would like to move on to our next poet, who will be Miss Sheetal Sawant.
Hi, I'm Sheetal Manoji Sawant. I am an FYGC student studying PCMCS, and I'm here to present my poem, The Bird of Fish. The clock struck 30 on her arrival. The villagers all heard her anticipated wait. The air's revival, their voices exclaimed. They rushed to her crib only to look upon her with looks of revolt. Ungodly, they called her, but a devotee to her duty she was born. Seen, not heard, something her mind simply chose not to comprehend. Read books above her ages, rose above the falsity of their lore. They tried to poison her food, couldn't poison her tongue though. She swore by her words, she swore by her women. They tried to sear her face off, couldn't do a thing to her reflection, because every mirror she looked into, the shadow of her deed shined back at her. They tried to burn her bridges, couldn't taint her love though. She wasn't able to oil her sweetheart's hair any, but her hand was always on. They tried to drown her in an abyss, couldn't drop her heart though. Even the ocean fell in love with her enough to let her go. They spit on her robes, couldn't taint her soul though. She left behind in her footprints a little girl's dream to find her voice in a silenced world. They stripped away her dress, couldn't strip away her faith. She still prayed at night, no matter if the deity heard. One day on the town square, they gagged her, choked her, pulled her by the hair, and dragged her into the face of the villagers, asked her to beg for mercy, and bed a faithless man to redeem her purity. To give her body to a faceless monster, she opened her mouth and raised hell. They pitchforked her, tied her to a pyre, they doused her in kerosene. They said, "Oh, dark skinned hag of night hair and night eyes, you are a betrayer of God's will for your kind. You are a disease to our girls. So watch your sins burn and you'll know hellfire. We pray you get what you deserve." You know what she had said? All she had said was no. They lit her on the pyre, believing they had brought truth to its knees. Little did they know that out of that ungodly fire was born a witch they could not. Thank you.
I'm honestly flabbergasted by the way such a beautiful story was actually put into words that depicted a poem so beautifully. That was definitely some carefully arranged words that was so elegant and moving, in fact. Thank you so much, Ms. Sheetal Sawant. That was an extremely beautiful poem. And now, our next poet is Mr. Aditya Mishra.
Hello everyone, my name is Alex Shah and today I'm deciding on a favorite poem title. I wrote this poem in my ninth grade after hearing the sudden demise of my cousin's death to whom I was really close to. So the title of the poem is The Anguish of Seclusion. One day at utter loneliness, I was sitting beside the tangible things with turmoil and in my child. The terror of abandonment had shaken me to life. Sobbing eyes made me pour out. Suddenly, a bizarre event caught my attention. graciously exquisite left behind his master. With utmost true, endearing, he was brought find care and fondness among us, made him realize first time what the true essence of life is. In life, it is not essential to be so fortunate people, happy people. Even a speechless creature can enlighten the true essence of life without the anguish of seclusion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aditya. I personally feel that was a little metaphysical, little philosophical, and definitely filled with love. To your cousin's pet, of course. And that was a beautiful poem indeed. And now, we move on to our next poet. That will be Miss Kanchan Pathre.
She ran towards the dark room, crying like a rain, sat in the corner, pouring out all the pain. Words like hard work, courage, and patience now all got in vain. Worthless like as she thought, the world never gives up, but she wasn't even now able to get up. Putting weight of failure on her once witty brain, her heart sank, laden with burden, sucking out her body with the ill blood loaded with disdain, making destiny her despair, motivation her misery, now life's a tragedy. She wept for hours, then arose her face as usual, saw a tiny beam of sun ray peeping from her mind, straight steady to its hole, pierced through her forehead to lit up her soul. Because achievement is not success, nor losing is failure, but playing until you win to enlighten the inner self. Because the smell of the sweat can beat up 1,000 perfumes of the.
Thank you so much, Miss Kanchan, for that really beautiful and deep poem. It was definitely brilliant. And now, we move on to our next poet. That is Miss Khushi Chaudhary.
Hi everyone, myself Kushi, and today I'm going to recite a poem that I wrote last year during the pandemic, and which is about how I just feel before writing a poem. It's when I just feel sad and not talking to someone, as when the poem is born or the words come in rushing. And the name of my poem is The Chaos. Hope you like it. There are days when chaos returns to reclaim its place, when fluttering feathers of hope forgets the words in my soul, when let her go by passenger makes more sense than ever before, cause the lyrics come true. That we only need the light when it's burning low. We only miss the sun when it starts to snow, and we only know we love her when we let her go. On days like these, poets are finally remembered. They're finally honored in silence, and their words are felt deep, trenched in pain. For hours too long, the ceilings are gazed, with memories flashing deep engraved. On these dull, monotonous days, poems are born out of my lamenting soul. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Khushi, for that beautiful poem. That was really exquisite and, of course, brilliant. With that, we have almost reached the end of our event, and we only have a few more poets. And I feel that this has been a spectacular array of poems and performances by all the budding poets. But without any further ado, let's move on to our next poet. That is Ms. Reva Panchal.
Hi, I am Riva Panchal from FRGC Arts, and I am going to be presenting one of the poetries I wrote for the annual talent search. So here was nothing. It is called Who Am I? I am a poet, hero of the abandoned worlds. I am a knight in the shining armor, riding a dying horse. I am a fly in a room full of spiders, a caterpillar that works an entire life just to be a butterfly for a day. A dreamer in a place where dreaming is considered as fog in front of his feeding. I'm a writer bleeding words on pages that are always empty. Writing until my blood becomes ink and my fingers become pen. Writing under the simple act of moving a pen becomes breathing. That was my poetry. I hope you like it, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Reva, for that brief yet beautiful poem. Sure, everybody just loved it. And now we are with our third by last poet, that is Miss Ria.
Hello, my name is Riya Singh and I am MA Second 25. Subject of concentration is literature. I student some observing some that heavy shade. So today I have does not have light. It has four parts. I'm at starting part start. So there are four parts to this poem. There is a thought process, there is a vision, and there is the conclusion. So I shall start. As I lay there slowly, every thread in my was shaking. The ticking of the clock never ceased, and I was convinced the existence was like stop. So how? And I will be guided, and so I will keep in darkness tethered myself. And so, in darkness, lying in bed of a strong fire, I started seeking my life deserved the spells of. I started seeking happiness, kindness, smiles on some other emotions by experience. I will be and satisfied spirits have some tea when the solace of the night fog will be found. The sound of the chop with the song of the songs. When my material would materials and maybe inspire. I see it. I am where I tread my bare feet, painted by the spile of every. And where they come, the cerebral and some conversations. Seats. I went there where I make my house and my sensory shoes where the ground bears the foot, satiating where this word disturbing. And now I rise from my slumber, burdened to see this word's blood. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ria, for that amiable and beautiful poem. And now we have the
Listen,
yes, ma'am.
listen. It's not recorded, right?
The
It's being
event, ma'am.
recorded. Yeah.
The event, ma'am. No,
Yes,
ma'am. We are
yes.
just broadcasting it live
Ah,
on YouTube.
okay, fine. No, I've just messaged Ayush about something. It's okay.
So that's fine, ma'am. I'm sure Ayush can coordinate with you on that.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. And now we have reached the final two poems of this long, stellar array of poems that we have had in this event. Now, our second by last poet will be Miss Shahzaib Siddiqui.
Hello everyone, I'm Shazib Siddiqui. I'm currently studying in FIGC Science. I'm 15 and I'm settled in Mumbai. And today I'll be reciting a poem that I've written. It's in free verse and it's called The Walls. As I open my eyes from my slumber, I realize that I'm in a room. I look at the walls. They seem quite far away. I believe that there's enough room. As I look away, I try my best to make the most of my time in there. But that is when I realize how the room has been shrinking, how the walls have been getting closer, how I was always trapped, how the voice in my head was not my voice at all, it was the walls. As the walls come closer and closer, the voice in my head gets louder and louder. It tells me that there's enough room. This is enough room to survive. This shouldn't hurt you. Once I'm finally backed up against the walls have the audacity to tell me that this is still enough room, that I should be grateful instead. This is all for my own good. As the walls finally close in and crush me, they do not realize what they've done. They were just doing their job, right? I wasn't supposed to break so easily, was I?
Thank you, Mr. Shazeb. That was such an imaginative and beautiful poem. And now we have reached the final poem of this long stellar array of poetry. Perhaps this has been a wonderful session, but moreover, it has been something that we all can truly cherish. And now, our last poet is Ms. Parishi Shah.
Hi, my name is Parishi, and this poem doesn't have a title yet because I couldn't introspect too much. So, here we go. I stand across the rusty mirror, like the evil queen in Snow White, although I do applaud her for staying so confident in her life. So I look at my reflection and see the traits of my past friends, the precision of my mother, the Texan style of my ex best friend, the humor of my lover, and lastly, the laziness of my. They stay with me, like a footstep on a clay path. But if all this is theirs, then who am I? My silhouette turns alien, mocking me for losing myself, as though I were a lab rat used to test human genes, afraid to escape the human creed. So I try. I try to be like those magazine girls, only to find out that they think they're cursed. I try. I tried to live up to the expectations, only to find out that it is a faulty concept. Sometimes I wonder if we were made to fit in a box like that. Gender norms and societal crap. But it's easy to say be yourself, when in reality, it is lost in the abyss of an unconscious mind where you stay untapped. Let alone finding it yourself, it only slips through some open cracks. But when only sometimes I start to love myself, I subconsciously started out myself. So I switch back. I switch to my original personality, puzzle personality. Each fragment, an essence of my gone life. Looking at an empty soul with a tinge of regret, thinking, how would I be if I had the courage to be myself? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Parishi. That was a beautiful poem and absolutely amazingly descriptive. Perhaps that was the kind of end that we could need for such an amazing array of poetry. And with that, we have come to an end of the event, and I honestly couldn't say much. Can't say much because honestly, this has been completely, truly cherishing experience for me as a poet myself and an enthusiastic poet. I would like to say that this session has had some of the most amazing poets that I've ever come across. The poems that you have presented have been didactic, they've been contemplative, reflective, imaginative, moving, but the connection between all the poets is that everyone has been so passionate about it that your performances have been absolutely moving. I'm sure that's going to be a difficult decision for our judge to decide the best out of all these magnificent poets. But as it is, the competition does have its own winners. And we will be soon getting back to you with the results. But before that, ma'am, if you could say a few words to our finalists.
Sure, sure. See, irrespective of who the winner is, first of all, you participated, so that is enough evidence of your sportsmanship. Because honestly, if you ask me, even if I am writing, but if somebody tells me to go on a competitive stage and compete, I would definitely think twice. So hats off to all of you all, first of all, for coming. I mean, daring to come at a stage where you have to compete, and that too on the basis of your creativity. Secondly, the choice of topics that was made by all of you was really excellent and enlightening in terms of the issues that we are dealing with today, whether it is the pandemic, mental health issues, because we need awareness with regards to all of this gender biases, who I am, identity. So, very postmodern themes taken in, interwoven into all of that, and especially for the ones who are from FIJC, I must say that. Their ability to connect with such deep thoughts is really commendable. Okay, so that's I mean I have actually nothing to say. It was definitely a tough choice to make, but very well performed and brilliantly articulated to I would just say that to all of the participants.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for those cordial words. I'm sure all the participants have been absolutely enthralled to hear such cordial words from you. And truly has been a delight and honor to have you on board. And I would like to thank you for taking precious time out of your busy schedule to just the event. I'm sure this has been a learning and cherishing experience for all the participants as well. As much of a delight and honor it has been for us to host you. Meanwhile, kudos to
I
all.
would also like to thank the cultural committee for giving me this opportunity. It was really nice listening to such budding talents.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And of course, kudos to all the finalists for making it so far. And honestly, I can only say that to write poems all by yourself is a different thing, but to present it before everyone is a completely different art form. It's a completely different strength that it takes and a confidence that not everybody has. And I feel that although it might be intimidating to others to see such beautiful, confident poems and poets in front of them, perhaps poetry is the art form wherein everybody can come up, open up themselves up, and even the most beautiful poems are perhaps inspiring instead of intimidating to a person who wishes to learn. And with on that note, I would like to congratulate everyone for making it so far and wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors. And I would love to see all of you become some stellar, magnificent poets that India, our country, could have. Thank you so much, and we'll be getting back to you with the results in a couple of minutes. Hello, everyone. I have received the results, and this truly has been a difficult decision, even for ma'am, to choose the best poets out of such stellar, amazing artists. But of course, it's a competition, it's an event, and this has to be done. So I would like to go ahead with the results, and I'll be starting from the bottom. So we'll be going third, second, and first position. The third position goes to, it's a tie. Uh, is it a tie? I'll just check it with the technical team. Pardon me, I'll be right back in a minute. Yeah, pardon me. So I have the results. I would like to start with the English poetry, since we have such stellar artists there as well and a long list of poets. So the third position is a tie between three different poets. It is Mr. Shahzab Siddiqui, Miss Sania Naeem Sheikh, and Miss Nanika Sharma. Congratulations to all three of you. You were absolutely beautiful. You had absolutely beautiful poems. The second position goes to Miss Ananya Atul Sharma. Congratulations, Miss Ananya Sharma. Your poetry was also just as beautiful as others. And the first position goes to, it's a tie again, and definitely must have been a difficult decision. But the first position has been a tie between Miss Ria and Miss Kushi Chaudhary. Congratulations to both of you. Your poems were just as brilliant. And kudos to everyone from the English poetry section who made it to the finals. Please don't be disheartened by the results. And I would like to congratulate all of you for having presented such beautiful poems. And now, we move to the Hindi poetry. We have two winners from Hindi poetry. And the second position goes to Miss Ishal Khatri. Congratulations, Miss Ishal. And the first position goes to Miss Pratha Tiwari. And with that, we have reached the end of our slam poetry event of Annual Talent Search 2021 on the second day. It has been a truly magnificent experience and definitely a cherishing one. And I'm sure it has been a learning experience for all the budding poets because we have had such an amazing, incredible judge, Ms. Dhrumi Shah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us and coming on
Thank
board for this event. Thank you so much,
Thanks a
ma'am.
lot.
And with that, as it is said, all good things must come to an end. And I'm sure since we are poets, you all will definitely understand better than I can. But with that, we have reached the end of this event. And I would like to congratulate all of you for reaching out here. And I would love to see you all in the other events that we will be hosting today and tomorrow. And of course, next year in the Annual Talent Search 2022. Until then, please stay safe and keep staying positive and testing negative. This was your host, Yogeshwar Singh, signing off for the evening. Please take care and have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye bye, ma'am. Have a good day.
You are a very good host.